نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And welcome to our first weekly Wakening Waʿẓ. Now, where should we start? Well, let's start with a story. Long time ago, that's when most stories occur, or once upon a time I should have said, there was a pious man. And this pious man was known within the community. And this one individual who happened to be aware of this pious man decided that one day he would spend some time with him. So he went and he asked and inquired about this pious man, and somebody pointed him towards this individual, and he met him. And he said to the pious man that, look, I want to stay with you, and I want to learn from you, and I want to become educated by you. And the pious man, who normally has reservations about who he allows to accompany him with, decided in this case that he would take this companion. So off they went, and what normally happens is when you meet a pious person, you normally go on a long journey. So off they went on a long journey. And as they went on the journey and been some time, they decided to settle down and take some rest. So when they sat down, the pious man reached into his bag and took out 3 pieces of bread. And he placed the 3 pieces of bread on the ground. And he said to the companion, he says, 1 piece of bread is yours, 1 piece of bread is mine, and they ate it. So the pious man ate the bread and the companion ate the bread. The pious man then felt thirsty, so he got up and walked across to the river to have some water to drink. When he returned, surprisingly, he noticed that the piece of bread had disappeared, and there was not a single person in sight. So he asked the person, his companion that was with him, he said to him, where's that piece of bread gone? So the companion looked around, looked under the bag, looked this way, looked that way. I don't know. So he asked him again. He says, no, that piece of bread that I left here, where's it gone? Again, he looked under the bag, the companion, he looked here, he looked there, he looked under some rocks, and he says, I ain't got a clue where it's gone. So he said, fine, and they wandered on. As they carried on their journey, they reached another point where there was a young mother, a gazelle, who had just given birth to 2 young fawns. And they would look like days old, and they were sort of wandering around near the mother, and they felt only comfort being around the mother. So the pious man called one of the small fawns over, the baby gazelle, and surprisingly, miraculously, the young fawn walked towards him, which is very rare, as you know, because they tend to keep themselves with their parents. So when the young fawn walked over, the pious man took this animal, he slaughtered it, skinned it, and then he cooked it, and they ate it. When they finished eating, the pious man then said to the bones and the bits of flesh that were there, stand by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In front of this person's very eyes, I went a bit tired then. In front of this person's very eyes, this small fawn stood up and started to walk and return back to the mother. The companion there was quite shocked at this, as what he saw. So the pious person said to him, in that being, or in the name of that being, that who you witnessed the miracle in front of your very eyes, tell me who ate that 3rd piece of bread. Again, the companion went quiet for a short while, thought for a bit, and then said, I don't know. So they carried on their journey. And as they carried on their journey, they reached a really wide river. And this really wide river was very difficult to cross over. And they couldn't find any particular place to cross over. So they looked this way, looked that way, see if there would be a small bridge or an area which wouldn't be as where the river was not flowing as quickly. And they couldn't find a place. So the pious man said to the companion, hold my hand, and whatever you do, do not let go of my hand. So he then said, again, he asked Allah, said, Ya Allah, allow us to cross this river. And as he said that, they managed to walk on top of the water and reach the other side. Again, the pious man turned to the companion and he said, in the name of that being that allowed you to witness that miracle, who ate that piece of bread? Again, the chap that was with him, the companion, sort of looked this way, looked that way. I don't know, he said. So he said, fine, let's carry on. So they carried on moving and they reached to a plain. It was getting close to darkness now. It was getting close to night. So they needed a plain where they were going to rest. So when they reached this plain, they were sitting down. But before they were sitting down, they found lots of sand there. So the pious man took this sand and he let it run through his fingers. And as he was allowing the sand to run through his fingers, he said that, Ya Allah, turn this into gold. And as he said that, the sand turned into gold. The companion was shocked at what he just saw. So he then said, the pious man said, split the gold into 3 piles. He said, 1 pile is for me, 1 pile is for you, and 1 pile is for the person who ate that 3rd piece of bread. As soon as he had uttered those words, the companion shouted and screamed, said, it was me, I ate that 3rd piece of bread. So he said, fine, you can keep all of it. The pious man got up and he left. The companion was absolutely beside himself. He thought, I came here to learn some piety with this pious man. Instead, I've become exceptionally rich. And he's got this gold and he's letting it run through his fingers and he's screaming and he's dancing and he's shouting. Unbeknown to him, at that particular time, there was 2 robbers, 2 burglars walking past at the time. And they were just sort of talking to each other after the fact that they'd not managed to get anything today. And they heard this man dancing, screaming that he had some gold. So what he did was, they crept behind him, grabbed him, and said, right, we're going to take your gold off you. Now, this companion had a little bit of a gift of the gab. So he managed to convince them not to kill him. He said, what we'll do instead is we'll share this gold into 3. You 2 can have a share and I will have a share. But before we do that, why don't we celebrate on our new partnership? So the burglars agree that, okay, fine, let's celebrate this new partnership. So he says, 2 of us will stay here, but one of us needs to go back. One of us needs to go back in order to get some food from the village so we can celebrate. So he said, that sounds like a fine idea. So 1 robber toddled off to the village. The other 1 robber and the companion sat down and they waited for the robber to return. Whilst the robber's wandering off to the village, he had a bright idea. His idea was, why don't I get some poison, and when I get some poison, I can put it in the food, and when I place it into the food, then I can kill them too, and all the gold's mine. Fantastic idea. Whilst he was having that idea walking there, the other 2 had the idea that what we'll do is, why don't we split this gold between us? So when he returns, we'll jump in, we'll kill him, and then we'll split this gold between the 2 of us. So they thought that was a fantastic idea. So they all both plotted against each other. So as the man who had gone to the actual village returned, he had some food with him, but before he could even put the food down, they were hiding behind some rocks. They jumped out, grabbed him, and killed him. They then had the gold. They put half, they gave to one person, half he gave to himself. So the companion took half, the other burglar took half. And whilst they were laughing, they said, well, no point letting this food go to waste. So they ate the poisoned food, and they died as well. Later that evening, the pious person walked past the exact same place. And what did he find? He found the gold fluttering around with 3 dead bodies. And nobody actually got that gold. So that shows that the event that we're talking about, is that greed is such a thing. That greed is such a thing that it will always bring your destruction. It will not do anything else for you but bring your destruction. Greed took this man to lie, first of all, about the actual bread that he took. But when it was to his advantage, he then explained to the pious person that this bread that I took, the bread was actually, I was the one who took that bread. And then he had this, so that he could have this gold. And then once he's got this gold, the burglars thought that they could get it. Well, so instead they plotted and murdered and ended up killing each other, but then ended up dying as well. So really, wherever is the rizq that's written for you, whatever taqdeer is written for you, that will be yours. Anything else is beyond. Greed, all it does is bring about a person's destruction. So I hope you enjoy this first weekly Wakening Waʿẓ. Inshallah, join me again next Friday, hopefully. I will be in London next Friday, so I will try to squeeze a slot in. I will have a busy schedule there, but inshallah, I will make effort rather, to be able to do so. So bear the lessons that we learned today, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana, and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.